So I think the last one we could probably talk about pretty quickly because it is really, I think, the
It's
shortest of them.
and we could just say what it is because
It's a Christmas Carol.
It's a Christmas Carol. It's Batman's A Halloween Christmas Carol.
Yeah, it takes place on Halloween, but it's very much the story of a Christmas Carol.
You have the three spirits.
They borrow a lot of dialogue directly from A Christmas Carol. If you've ever read it, it's actually kind of funny. But this is definitely not a comedy.
No.
Now, we've had internal conflicts, or at least one major internal conflict and more, perhaps, internal memories within Batman throughout most of these. In the last one, I think we have one of the most significant struggles that we probably don't see as much from Batman. There's Batman. Should he be happy? There's all of that. How should he deal with the death of his parents? In the last one, he really asks,
what is Bruce Wayne doing with his life?
Yeah, I mean, he is Batman.
But
definitely.
He is also Bruce Wayne.
And as Bruce Wayne, what has he actually accomplished? And where is his life going? And really, yes, there is Batman. He can be Batman, but he does have a second life that he does live. And what does he have to show for it in that life?
Yeah.
So...
And to this, to forward the story, we're given his friend, Bruce's friendship with Lucius Fox, who Bruce sees after a long time. I think it was a year in the story.
Yeah, he hadn't seen him for a while.
Yeah, I hadn't seen him for a really long time. And Lucius is like one of his only, one of the only people he could really call his friend. And he keeps on kind of brushing him off to be Batman. We see that even when they first meet, it's because Bruce rescued him from some muggers in France.
That was a Halloween past.
Yeah, and Lucius offers to take him to dinner and offers him an investment opportunity, and Bruce Wayne is like, no, I have other things to do.
And also, the fact is that, in all fairness, he does have other things to do.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. We begin also with kind of a short action sequence with the Penguin. It's kind of weird because the Penguin is kind of oddly presented. He has this very strange appearance.
Do you think that part of the Penguin was really necessary?
I don't necessarily. I think that we do show, I guess, Batman leaving the party to go get
to
go back and be Batman. That's this kind of situation where there's really nothing else you can do.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that it's really necessary.
I think it could have been shorter.
Yeah, it does seem a bit long, but overall, I mean, I don't think that it really slows down the book or that it feels fluffy. I think it's just something you can either take or leave.
It's kind of a cold open.
It seems to kind of come out of nowhere, that's true. But overall, that is kind of taken out pretty quickly, and then we focus on our Christmas Carol story with he's visited by three spirits.
The first spirit.
Well, the first spirit is
it's of his father, Thomas Wayne, who says that he regrets not spending more time with his family and that he was always busy being, a doctor, and he's worried that Bruce is spending too much time as Batman and not spending enough time as Bruce, and
I think it's
enough.
I think that I don't think we have to really get into all of the detail of everything that he sees with all of the spirits because it's kind of
Christmas Carol-y.
It's very Christmas Carol-y. Yeah. I think that it would be a bit unnecessary to get into all of that. But what I think is really interesting about this take on the story is that with Scrooge from the original, I think it's really easy. Okay,
Scrooge was a terrible person.
No,
he was greedy.
He's a selfish miser, workaholic. He's doing everything for himself, and that is not good. And he needs to actually experience love and share that love with other people. With Batman, the reason that he's leading a life that may not be particularly fulfilling is because he's
busy
devoting himself to being the protector of Gotham City.
Yeah.
That he's sacrificing everything that actually is for people's benefit, but he still is not really sharing the love with anyone.
Yeah.
So,
and he is doing it kind of for selfish reasons. He's doing it because he wants to avenge his parents.
Well, perhaps it's for selfish reasons, perhaps it's not. It is necessary. It does indeed benefit other people.
Yeah.
And I think that he does want to help people. But I think that it's really still a matter of him being horrifically antisocial. So the fact that he's doing something and sacrificing everything for other people's betterment still doesn't mean that he's making all of the right choices.
Yeah.
And he really has to question that. When he sees things like little children are scared to go to his house on Halloween because they hear that it's haunted because they can't believe anyone lives there, it's kind of saddening.
Yeah.
But it follows the Christmas Carol pretty closely. It's very condensed, but overall, I don't think it feels like forced or cheesy or
No.
anything like that, which you can get sometimes with
I mean, it's
Christmas
not
Carol.
Batman Goes to Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory. Because you know how a lot of things have, like, a pastiche. Not a pastiche, what's it?
Parody, illusion.
Yeah, like a lot of TV shows have the one where they win a trip to the magical factory. So it's not Batman doing that. It's Batman's Christmas Carol.
It's not Batman Goes to Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory. But it is, I would say, very well done. And I also think that although it is a Halloween story and not a Christmas story, it has, even though still pretty serious, it still has a fairly heartwarming conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
So, overall, now let's get into our evaluation of it. If we didn't make it clear in our unnecessarily detailed analysis, we like this book.
Yeah.
Do we not like this book?
Very much so.
On a letter scale, where would you put this book?
Could I rate each story separately?
Sure.
So I would give Fear.
Fears?
I would give Fears a B+.
Mm-hmm.
I would. I thought it was very, very well executed, but I thought that on the Batman front, on the actual like action front, it did feel a bit just like the action was just a way to express Batman's internal monologue.
Mm-hmm.
Like the action itself, like you said, was like Scarecrow wasn't really doing anything that threatening. It was just him chasing him, and it kind of doesn't make sense why Batman actually can't catch Scarecrow more often than that. So I mean, it serves great as a vehicle to get the whole emotional story, but it was just as action, it was kind of underwhelming.
Could I also say what I think I would give? I would give it probably an A.
Oh.
I have to say, because I do think that what you're saying is true, but I think that it's quite simply just not an action story.
Yeah.
And I think that if you go into it expecting sort of a big action hero type story, then you'll be sorely disappointed. I think if you want more of a Batman's meditations on his own life, which is really what this is, I think it works really well. So it really, I think, depends on what you want. I think that on the front, that for everything that it attempts, I think it's very successful. I think that the art really does a tremendous job of expressing this. And, I mean, I think it does in all of these, but especially in the first and second one. And overall, I think that what it ends up telling us about Batman and what it ends up asking is something that, even though we've seen it many times in the past, I think
it's done exceptionally well.
I think it addresses exceptionally well. And it seems that there's this element of hope to it, but also a very strong element of sadness to it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't it's not at all superficial, but also not saying, oh, we're being grim and dark and all that.
Yeah.
It's not self-conscious, it's just very effective.
It kind of is that Batman, that Bruce Wayne hasn't been given the choice yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that he has no hope of ever stopping being Batman, it's that he just can't yet.
Mm-hmm.
So, the second story I would give an A.
You would give an A?
I would give an A to the second story. I thought that it handled a different part of the Batman psychology mythos, I guess. The whole night of his death. I think it handled very well. And that's not an aspect we get very often. We're shown that Batman often remembers the night of his parents' death, but we're not shown why or how. So I think that how it delved into that and how we know that he uses it purely for motivation and not for retrospective purposes, really. It was very interesting. I really like the stuff with Gordon, with the Gordons.
Yeah.
I really like the whole father. I just like stories about fathers, I guess. And I thought that just the Mad Hatter's is really creepy.
Yeah,
he's just a really creepy guy.
Yeah,
in this.
It's interesting. I think that one of the most effective things about that story is that it contrasts Gordon's commitments to his family and how he struggles with that with Batman's complete lack of a family and how he struggles with that. I think that's the big contrast of the story. And on that front, I think it's very effective. I would give it probably...
There's just like this one page.
There is one line. Gordon says to himself that he's sure Batman. He envies Batman because Batman doesn't have anyone to go home to. And he gets to wear a cape. It's before that.
It is?
I can find it if you want.
No, I got it.
Alright, so I would say that I would probably give it probably an A-. because I just think that a lot of the flashbacks and stuff don't necessarily tie into the main story as smoothly as they could. It feels a little bit like we're jumping from one thing to another, and feels a little bit less coherent than it could be. But
sometimes I envy Batman.
Sometimes I envy the Batman.
Sometimes I envy the Batman. I can't imagine that behind that mask he hides a wife and children in Gotham. I don't think he'd answer my signal in the night if he had someone waiting for him at home.
And the great thing about that is that Batman knows this, and he doesn't. And he also has to deal with this fact that he could commit to someone, but then he wouldn't be able to. And it ties in very much with the previous story.
Mm-hmm.
So
and then we do get that nice bit of Gordon who really wants to be the best cop he can be, but he does have other bigger responsibilities.
And overall,
and
the last one.
Where
would you rate that?
I don't know. Like, I thought because it was all just a Christmas Carol, and because we know that it was all, well, not a dream, but, you know, it was all very introspective and not much is happening.
Mm-hmm. Ate some bad shrimp.
Yeah. I don't know really how to rate it. I mean...
I would give it... Do you want me to just... You can just give no rating.
I don't know. Like, I want to rate it less than the other two, but it's still incredibly good.
Yeah,
and
I'm gonna say probably a B+.
Yeah,
I think that in terms of the Christmas Carol story, it works. I think that part is just a little bit too short because this is a single part. I think that the part with the Penguin might kind of clash with it just thematically and in terms of the feel of it, and might get in the way a bit.
I'd probably give just a B.
But so yeah, I would B+, I would say those are close enough. And so what would you give the book overall?
Just average it to B+.
You'd average it to B+.
Yeah.
I would probably put it at probably an A-. Again, I think it's a very specific type of Batman book, and it's one that we see sometimes, not always, but I think that it's done exceptionally well for the type of book that it is. And, you know, we've been talking for 40 minutes. I actually probably should. Do you think maybe I could edit this down a little bit?
Maybe a little bit.
We'll see what happens.
But, yeah.
And that is...
We recommend it.
Yes. It's a very spooky Halloween book.
Not
it's not.
Really.
It's just really sad.
It's very mature.
Yeah.
Handles a lot of big ideas and...
Which, come to think of it, is the exact opposite of what you would want for Halloween.
Yeah, this isn't... No.
This is a terrible choice for Halloween.
But it's... I guess it's scary in a very...
existential sort of way.
Yeah.